Здравствуйте, товарищи! Welcome to Crime and Punishment to Go. Fyodor Dostoyevsky's great novel of 1866 deals with murder and its consequences, both in the legal and in the moral or religious sense. Today's cast are Rodion Romanovich Raskolnikov, 23 years old, a bit of a loner. He used to study law, but at the moment he can't afford to pay his tuition fees, although his mother regularly sends him money while she herself only gets a very small pension, which is one of the reasons why Dunya, his sister, has recently decided to get married to Lucien, a very rich and calculating capitalist. She used to work as a governess for Svidrigailov, but he molested her. There was a scandal and now his wife is dead. Quite important too is the Marmeladov family, this being the constantly drunk head of the family, the daughter Sonia from Marmeladov's first marriage, who is a prostitute and the family's only source of income, Marmeladova, who looks a little askance because she suffers from tuberculosis, and 3 more children. Then there's Raskolnikov's friend Razumichin, who would really do anything for him, and finally Porfiri Petrovich, a police inspector with whom Raskolnikov spends some very remarkable hours. It is around 1860 in St. Petersburg. It is summer and it is very hot. After weeks of brooding on his sofa bed, Raskolnikov decides to go to the old pawnbroker Alyona Ivanovna. Palim palim! Yes? Would you take on this watch for 4 rubles? I'll give you 1.5. What? Oh, nothing. So he takes the 1.5 rubles of the miserly old witch and goes to a real drinking hole, where he has a snack and a drink above all, when a fat guy approaches his table. Privyet! Marmeladov's the name. I'm a former public servant who has lost all his jobs. My daughter's a hooker and I don't dare to go because I stole the last money from my wife. You know, it's not a shame to be poor, but being a pauper is. And he tells him the story of his whole life until Raskolnikov takes him home at some point, in return for which he is dissed by Marmeladova, but you know, they're really paupers. Then he goes home and sleeps a feverish sleep. He really has some mental problems, which is why he sleeps badly but long. Then the housemaid enters. Letter from mummy. And he goes, okay. And the letter says, Dear Rodya, good news. Dunya has been molested and fired, but in compensation her former boss has found her a husband who will now pay for us all. Imagine, he expressly wants a poor wife. P.S. We are coming to St. Petersburg. And Raskolnikov goes, What a disgusting guy. Dunya wants to sacrifice herself for mum and me, but that's so not on. And he goes out on the street. I'm doing it now. I'll kill that mean old pawnbroker because she's not a human being but a louse sucking out the poor. And extraordinary people such as I have to fulfill their mission, even if that means collateral damage in the form of elderly ladies. Compare Napoleon. And accidentally he meets the pawnbroker's sister Elizaveta, who goes, Okay, I'll drop by at 7 tomorrow evening. So she'll be alone tomorrow evening. That's when I will do it. So he sews a loop of cloth into his jacket in order to be able to carry an axe unseen. He gets the axe and next evening goes to Alyona Ivanovna again. Yes? Here's the cigarette case I mentioned to you. I'd like to pawn that. And she's looking at it while he's swinging the axe and strikes her dead. Ouch! Then he goes into her bedroom in order to steal, and when he comes back he finds, to his horror, the sister Elizaveta. She backs down to the wall and he kills her too. Ouch! Then he hears voices from outside. The door isn't locked and he is very lucky to escape, but has almost no money on him. At home, he goes to bed once more, sleeping his feverish sleep. And on the next day, it is Natasha, the housemaid again, who wakes him. You have been summoned to the police! And he stays bolt upright in bed. What? Fearing they're onto him already. But he still goes to the police station, where a very nice policeman goes, Your former student Raskolnikov? Yes? You're in debt. There's a claim that has been handed over to us. Go on and sign this form here. And while Raskolnikov is signing what they want him to sign, some policemen talk about the murderer. They suspect a couple of craftsmen who were working in the house, and Raskolnikov is feverish, can't take the pressure, faints. That is quite a suspicious behavior, but he is allowed to go. First of all, he's got to get rid of the loot he's been carrying around with him, which now he hides under a big stone in a court. After this, he's rather sick for a couple of days, which is not surprising, considering the murder and the mental stress he's under. His friend Razumichin looks after him. Hey, your mother has sent some money and I've bought you some new clothes. When, knock, 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 there's a stranger who enters. Hello, I'm your future brother-in-law, the name's Lucien. Aha, so you're the one who wants Dunya because she's poor? I never said it like this. Get out. So he kicks him out and then he's drawn to the crime scene once more, where some craftsmen are working. "Hello, bloodstains removed, huh? I just wanted to rent," and once again he's behaving highly suspicious, which is noticed. So he steps out on the streets again in a very confused state of mind, where he witnesses how Marmeladov, drunk as usual, is run over by a carriage. It's a terrible accident, and Raskolnikov helps to carry Marmeladov home, but here he dies shortly afterwards. The only thing Raskolnikov can do is hear Marmeladov take all the money I have for the funeral, and that was the money his mother had just sent him. Funnily, at his place, Mum and Dunya have been waiting for him all day long. And she goes, "My boy, finally! There you are. Oh, so you chucked out Lucien? Because he's an asshole, you can't marry him." When suddenly Marmeladov's daughter, Sonia, the prostitute, comes in and goes, "Oh, sorry, I didn't want to disturb. I just wanted to invite you to the funeral." And he's very kind to her and makes her sit down next to his sister and mother, which is a massive breach of etiquette towards his bourgeois family. Then they're gone, and Razumихin is with him again. "You need to tell the police that you were a customer of that murdered pawnbroker if you want your stuff back. We'll just visit the inspector in charge, he's a friend of mine." And indeed, the inspector Porfiri Petrovich is very amicable. "I'm so happy you've come to visit me," and he goes on babbling without end about the murder case as well. But Raskolnikov has the feeling that underneath all the friendliness he's being suspected, he's being probed as a suspect. Then again, Raskolnikov has told another police officer the previous day that he had committed a murder in a very strange mood. Back home, he's visited by a stranger again. "Hello, the name's Svidrigailov. I'm Dunya's ex-boss. Would you like to tell her that she's going to inherit some money now that my wife's dead? And I'd like to give her loads of more money. Just so, you old lecher, you're still after her." "No," and he exits. Then there's the showdown with Lucien in Mum and Dunya's hotel room, at which friend Razumichin is present as well, who is a little in love with Dunya. And Lucien goes, "Okay, Dunya, it's your choice, your brother or me." "Don't you pressurize me like this, you're not a dictator." "Aha, now that we've inherited a little money we get defiant. Aha, now that I'm not that poor, I'm not your kind of bride anymore, huh? Get out." And Lucien can hardly believe he's lost his fiancée, but Dunya likes Razumichin too, so it seems that there's a future for them. Raskolnikov now takes an interest in Sonia, visits her, has her read the Bible to him and promises, "Tomorrow I'll tell you who the murderer was," because she knew Elizaveta, the second victim and sister of the pawnbroker. First of all, however, he goes to the police once more because Porfiri Petrovich had told him to do so on account of his unredeemed pawns. And Porfiri does this Inspector Columbo routine once more, babbling without end until Raskolnikov is really dizzy and goes, "So you think I'm the murderer, don't you?" "Oh, no, not at all. You may go if you want. Just one more thing." And he opens the door to the next room where a craftsman is raving, It was I murdered the old pawnbroker." "What? I beg your pardon?" And he's afraid to go mad because he knows that he was the killer. Just before Marmeladov's funeral meal, Lucien has Sonia come over to his room and goes, "Okay, Sonia, here's 10 rubles for the family." And she goes, "Oh, thank you so much." Then there's the funeral meal, very much saddened by the fact that the wife of the deceased seems to go mad. Suddenly, Lucien comes in once more and goes, "I'm missing 100 rubles. Sonia, you were the only person in my room. You must have taken them." "But I haven't," when 100 rubles fall out of her pocket and Lucien is triumphing over the apparent thief, when his roommate steps in and goes, "That was you, you asshole. I saw you putting this secretly into her pocket, but why?" And Raskolnikov steps forward and goes, "I know why. He wanted to make Sonia look like a petty thief and disgrace me so he could have another go at my sister." Lucien goes away, and although Marmeladova now goes really mad, Raskolnikov accompanies Sonia home to her place in order to make good his promise. And she goes, "You saved me, yeah, but I'm the murderer." "What? That's impossible. Then you've got to turn yourself in." At this point, however, they learn that her stepmother has been raving in the streets and suffered a breakdown. She's taken to Sonia's place, where she dies shortly afterwards. Suddenly, Svidrigailov is in the room, and Raskolnikov goes, "What are you doing here?" "Well, I live in the next room, and as it happens, I just heard your confession. Ha ha." This is such a blow to Raskolnikov that he falls into a kind of delirium again for a couple of days at his place. And when he wakes up again, the very nice police inspector Porfiri Petrovich is in the room, and Raskolnikov goes, "Wah! What is it? What do you want?" "I would like to sincerely beg your pardon for having roasted you the way I did during our last conversation, but that's over now because I know for certain that you are the killer." "Ah, so you are arresting me?" No, you're still at large, you can kill yourself if you want, just please don't forget to write a confession that will save me a lot of paperwork. After this, Raskolnikov meets Svidrigailov once more because he has the suspicion he might have been the whistleblower, but the man goes, "No, that wasn't me, I don't mind what you're doing, I'm going to marry." Raskolnikov leaves, albeit in doubt, and immediately afterwards his sister Dunya turns up, because Svidrigailov has written her, and he goes, "So, Dunya, will you do whatever I tell you, or should I tell the police about your brother?" Knowing Svidrigailov, however, Dunya has brought a revolver and shoots him. She misses, but can get away, leaving the weapon. Svidrigailov is so disappointed that she doesn't love him, that he will never have her, and about his awkward life in general, that he takes the gun and a little later kills himself. For Raskolnikov, however, suicide is not an option, although he thinks about it. Instead, he says goodbye to his mother and Dunya and then turns himself in to the police. He confesses to having murdered the pawnbroker and is sentenced to 8 years of hard labor in Siberia, which is rather a lenient sentence. Sonia accompanies him there, visits him again and again, and at some point he realizes that he loves her. And although he's still got 7 years of prison before him, there's a new hope. And this, dear congregation, was Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Mikhailovich Dostoyevsky.
Vielen Dank.